start deforming. And then after this happens, the frame starts bending. The energy that goes into bending the racket has very little effect on the ball because it's already left the racket. Earlier, a common belief among players was that if you use a flexible racket, perhaps you could get more power. We found out that the stiffer the racket, the more power is given to the ball because less energy goes to bending the racket itself. Stiffer rackets lead to greater power, and the manufacturers responded with new materials, new designs, and so on to provide greater and greater power.
Traditional wooden rackets were soon discarded for stiffer composite models with larger heads. To increase stiffness, racket frames also grew wider. Today, Ramnath uses radar to define racket performance in mathematical terms.
117.
Ramnath measures the speed of the ball going to and from the racket. With these two numbers, he creates a ratio called the coefficient of restitution, which defines the power of the racket.
The rebound velocity divided by the incoming velocity of the ball is what is called coefficient of restitution. The higher that number is, the more efficient the racket is, because it gives more of the incoming energy back to the ball. So if the ball comes in at 100 miles an hour and the rebound velocity is only 80 miles an hour, the coefficient of restitution is 0.8.
Ramnath measures the coefficient of restitution at many points on the racket's surface. He uses mathematics to interpolate between points to create a three-dimensional map. He locates the area where the coefficient of restitution is 0.4 or more and defines it as the racket's sweet spot. Ramnath has tested more than 2,000 rackets.
Okay, let's try it now.
He relies on the same mathematical tools that he uses as an aerospace engineer.
The influence of, say, mathematics and physics on sports, it's no different from the application to any advanced aerospace activity, except that the bodies that we're talking about are not spacecraft, but tennis racket and tennis balls. What we do is invoke the laws of physics and mathematics to interpret the data, both hand in hand, guide us through this entire process. And that, yeah, the 8.2 corresponds to 9.1 power rating.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, look at this. This wide body has 10.9, so that's...
Ramnath uses mathematics to interpret his measurements.
Stiffness, so it's 6.5. There's no process which is free from errors, whether it is in aerospace, missile business, or in the tennis racket ball interaction. There's a spread, a dispersion of the measurements. And this is where mathematics comes in and helps us determine a best estimate based on a given set of measurements. It forces us to be very precise in our thinking.
Over the years, Ramnath has watched the coefficient of restitution increase, and with it, the power of the game.
That's right down the center, 124 miles per hour. Beautiful motion on the serve. We'll get a chance to look at it.
Stiffer rackets are changing the sport, but Ramnath has discovered a trade-off.
Nature doesn't allow us to have all the things we want. If we want great power in a racket, an inescapable consequence of that is that it also produces great stress in the forearm. So the shock is likely to cause tennis elbow. Being an engineer enhances the joy or the pleasure I get out of tennis knowing it at a deeper level. So mathematics is essential to every step of this process. It's a way of applying reason to very complex issues.
In the world of sports, mathematics plays an important role in design. Without mathematics, creating a racing yacht would be impossible.
You win or you lose, and it's two boats on the race course at one time. You can't even get an honorable second place in this game. You're just plain the loser.
John Marshall has been designing America's Cup boats for over 20 years. In 1995, in San Diego, his boat raced against New Zealand, but lost the Cup.
When someone else goes and basically blows us out of the water, it's a pretty good challenge. We want to go and get it back.
To design a winning boat, Marshall must comply with a mathematical rule created by the racing committee.
The rule is blindingly simple. It's a little arithmetic equation that relates three things that are fundamental to boat speed. Sail area, more of it in principle makes you go faster. Weight, more of it is bad. And length, drag is reduced if they're longer.
When one variable changes, it affects the others. If sail area increases, weight or length must decrease. Adding weight would reduce sail or length, and so on. To find the winning combination, Marshall begins with statistics.
So you need to analyze the meteorology in the area where you're going to race, get a very good statistical picture of that, and select a set of design parameters that fit those conditions closely. If the boat's going to be designed for strong winds, you probably won't need too much sail area, so you might sacrifice sail area to buy length.
By predicting the wrong conditions, a designer can lose more than a race. In 1995, the Australian boat, fine-tuned for lighter winds, broke apart in rough seas and sank in less than 2 minutes.
And then they were also thrown into this set.
For designers like Marshall, the real nightmare is a ticking clock.
Residual resistance.
One of the things that's really sobering about America's Cup is that we already know the date of the first race. And they're not going to change that if we're not quite ready with the design of the boat. So you waste a day, you can't get it back.
The winglets to the added resistance in headways.
To meet their deadline, Marshall's team must quickly evaluate many designs.
Compartment and...
It's impossible to build and test them all, so they simulate them with mathematics.
Our design problem in a very fundamental way is to develop hundreds of additional boat speed per dollar spent and per day available. The mathematical modeling gives you the chance to sort out a wide range of ideas very quickly.
Components are designed with equations created with the laws of physics. Sails must capture the wind to drive the boat forward.